So, guys, for the past few years, talking about the Giants as a legitimate Super Bowl contender would have sounded completely unrealistic. But heading into the 2026 season, that conversation is starting to feel a lot different. This team has made some major changes over the offseason. The culture around the organization has completely shifted, and expectations are suddenly higher than they've been in years. Now, does that automatically mean the Giants are ready to make a Super Bowl run? Not necessarily, but what I'm about to tell you is something will change your point of view, how you see Giants as a team. You will start to understand why the Giants are generating so much excitement. So, let me list down the 5 massive reasons why this team could be a legitimate Super Bowl contender. What's up, Big Blue? Welcome to the NFL Playbook Giants. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So let's get into it. Reason number 1, and honestly this is the biggest one for me, is the head coach. John Harbaugh is a whole different level of football coach than Brian Daboll. And look, I want to be fair here. I don't have any beef with Brian Daboll as a person. I think he knows a ton of football, probably more than I'll ever understand. But knowing football and coaching football are two different things, right? And when I look back at the last few years, so many of the games this team lost really did not need to be lost. They were lost because of what happened on the sideline, not because of a lack of talent on the field. John Harbaugh is going to be a first-ballot Hall of Fame coach one day, and you can just feel that this team is going to look and feel like a real professional football team on Sundays now. I don't remember many games under Brian Daboll where I walked away thinking, okay, we won that game because our coach out-schemed the other guy. With John Harbaugh, I think that happens almost every single week. Instead of waking up on Sunday just hoping the Giants can somehow find a way to win, we're going to wake up expecting to win. And honestly, when you think about how many games this team blew last year, one-score games, three-point games where you were up 10 with 4 minutes left, it did not matter. This team found a way to give it away. I truly believe if you put John Harbaugh on that sideline in those exact same moments, you win most of those games. That right there changes everything for this franchise. And I'm not just saying that off of feeling either. Think about the specific games. Up late against Dallas after Russell Wilson hit Malik Nabers with 25 seconds left, only to watch Dallas force overtime and steal it up 26-8 against Denver with 6.5 minutes left. The double-digit lead against the Bears, the same story against the Lions, and honestly, even that one against the Packers, I believe John Harbaugh closes out every single one of those. Reason number 2 is what happened on defense, and specifically the coaching change there too. Bringing in Dennard Wilson over Shane Bowen is a massive upgrade, and honestly, the players are already saying it. You hear Tyler Nubin talking about how much he loves this defense now. You hear Brian Burns talking about it. You hear Kayvon Thibodeau talking about it. And here is the thing that really opened my eyes. Look at what happened this defense once Shane Bowen got fired midway through last season. In the 12 games Shane Bowen coached, this defense gave up the 3rd most points per game in the entire league. 3rd worst in the 5 games after that under the interim coaching. This same exact roster played like a top 10 scoring defense. Same players, completely different results, because they were finally being put in positions to succeed instead of being asked to do things that did not fit their skill set. You saw it most with Abdul Carter. Under Shane Bowen, he looked like a guy who might bust. In those final 5 games, he looked like one of the best pass rushers in the entire NFL. His PFF pass rush grade over that stretch was 91, which tied him with Myles Garrett for the 2nd highest mark in all of football over that span. So when I see this team bringing in Dennard Wilson, someone who is going to actually build a scheme around what these guys do well, I get excited. Because we already saw the flash of what this defense can be with the right voice calling the shots. Think about it this way too. This is not just about swapping out a play caller. The pieces up front and in the back end got real upgrades as well. You lose Dexter Lawrence for a stretch, sure, but this staff went out and added real veteran depth up front to help Darius Alexander grow into a bigger role. At linebacker, you go from Bobby Okereke and Darius Muasau to a top 5 pick in Arvell Reese, a guy plenty of people around the league thought was the best overall prospect in the entire draft. Plus a veteran like Tremaine Edmonds next to him. In the secondary, you bring in Greg Newsome, you draft Colton Hood, and you add Darius Washington to handle the slot. So when you combine all of that talent with a coordinator who actually knows how to deploy it correctly, I think this defense goes from a bottom-of-the-league group to genuinely one of the better units in the whole conference. Now, reason number 3, and this one I think people are sleeping on way too much, is Abdul Carter himself. This guy was the number 3 overall pick, and I feel like everybody just wants to talk about his sack total from year 1 and act like that tells the whole story. It does not. He had 4 sacks last year, sure, but he also had 66 total pressures, which was 21 more than any other rookie in the entire league. 21 more. He had more pressures as a rookie than Will Anderson had his rookie year, more than Chop Robinson had his rookie year, and more than Aiden Hutchinson had his rookie year. He finished with the 7th most pass rush wins in the entire NFL last season, not among rookies the entire league. He also had the highest rate of beating his man quickly of anybody in football. Pressures are not just some random stat either, they are one of the best indicators we have for future sack production. You do not just stumble into sacks year after year without first winning your rushes consistently, and Abdul Carter was already winning at an elite level as a rookie. playing under a coaching staff that was not putting him in position to finish plays. Now give him real structure, give him a real defensive play caller, and I think the sacks come in bunches this year. I would not be shocked one bit if this guy is in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation by December. And it is not just me saying this either. One of the guys who covers this team closely, a reporter who goes by John Schmielk, straight up said he hates doing fact or fiction, takes off spring practices because there is no pads and no contact. But even with that disclaimer, he could not deny that Abdul Carter has been the most impressive player on that entire practice field, and he said flat out that a big year is coming. Now, is he perfect? No. He has got to get stronger at the point of attack. He has got to be better setting the edge in the run game because his run defense grade was not good last year. He got washed down too many times. But the pass rushing ability is already there at an elite level, and once the run defense catches up even a little bit, this guy becomes a complete all-around problem for opposing offenses every single week. And reason number 4 is Jaxson Dart, and I think year 2 is going to be a real jump for him. As a rookie, this guy carried an offense that honestly did not have a ton of help around him for stretches of the season, and he still balled out. Think about that Thursday night game against the Eagles where he played like an MVP with barely any playmakers around him. Or what he did walking into Denver on the road and putting on a straight-up clinic without even having Malik Nabers out there with him. He was the 6th best quarterback in the league on third down last year on a per-play efficiency basis, and he ranked 19th overall in efficiency and 20th in success rate, and again, that was with a lot of that offense just playing backyard football at times. But here's what really gets me excited. Look at how he played against playoff-caliber teams. He was the 5th best quarterback in the league by QBR against playoff teams last season, throwing for over 1,400 yards and 16 touchdowns with only 3 turnovers in those games. Scale that over a full 17-game season, and you were talking about a guy on pace for roughly 3,500 yards, close to 40 touchdowns, and only about 7 turnovers. That is not a fluke. That is a guy who plays his best football when the lights are the brightest, and that is a trait that every single great quarterback in this league shares. Add in the fact that he now has real structure around him with a full offseason under his belt. And I think we are about to see why this franchise believes he can be the guy for a very long time. And reason number 5, the pieces around him are finally healthy and finally upgraded across the board. Getting Skattebo back and getting Malik Nabers healthy, if he can get back on the field, changes this offense completely. Remember what Skattebo brought to this team when he was on the field, the mindset, the physicality, the touchdowns, and we all know what Malik Nabers is capable of when he is right. Add in Isaiah Likely at tight end, joining Theo Johnson, who led this team in touchdowns last year, and suddenly this passing game has real weapons at every level. It is not just the skill positions, either the offensive line got deeper, the inside linebacker room got significantly better, the cornerback room got better, and the wide receiver room got better from top to bottom. Adding a guy like Malachi Fields in the draft that this staff clearly loves paying Darnell Mooney real money and bringing in Calvin Austin for even more depth. Even the offensive line got an upgrade with Francis Mauiga added to the mix. This is a roster that got better at almost every single position group outside of maybe the interior defensive line, and even there they are hoping Darius Alexander takes a real step forward. And on top of all of that, the schedule is simply easier this year. Last season, this team had the toughest schedule in the entire league. This year, Week 1 against Dallas is tough, and Week 2 against the Rams is tough, but after that, you are looking at a much friendlier slate. You are talking about the Titans, the Cardinals, the Commanders, and the Saints, all teams that picked high in this year's draft, teams this roster should be favored against. The Jags are beatable, the Colts are beatable, the Browns are beatable. If this team comes out of those first 2 weeks, even at 1-1, there is a real path to being 5-2 by the time they get to that game against the Texans in Week 7, and I think that is exactly the kind of start that gets this whole fan base believing. Even Vegas has noticed the difference, because unlike last year, when this team was not favored in a single game until the very end of the season, this year they are favored in multiple games right out of the gate. When you put all 5 of these pieces together, the coaching upgrade at the top, the defensive turnaround waiting to happen, a former top pick ready to break out, a young quarterback trending in exactly the right direction, and a healthier, deeper roster with a much easier road ahead, it is not crazy at all to start talking about this team as a real contender. I am not saying it is guaranteed, nothing in this league ever is, but for the first time in a long time, I actually believe it. And I think by the time we get into the back half of this season, a lot more people are going to believe it too. Let me know what you guys think. Drop your predictions down below, and I will see you in the next one.